Hi, my name is Herbert Garcia with the Parveen Home Selling Team from REMAX. I have been a realtor for 13 years, and today I'm going to be sharing 10 reasons why I do believe a home in Ontario is not selling. And if any of these reasons apply to your particular situation, maybe you can take them into account and address them. So hopefully, if your home has been sitting on the market for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days plus, you can address this particular situation and hopefully your home will be sold in the next 30 days. What I am noticing lately is that the number of listings is gradually increasing. Last last month, there were 6,243 homes that sold in the greater Toronto area. And what that means is there were 208 homes selling every day. Was your home one of those? And if it wasn't, today you will have an opportunity to sort of think the reasons I'm going to be sharing with you, address them, and hopefully your home can be sold in the next 30 days. So if you like the content of this video, make sure that you give me your thumbs up. And if you would like to continue receiving information that I am going to be adding to this channel, make sure that you subscribe and share it with your friends. Out of the 10 reasons, I do believe the reason number 10 is the most important one. So make sure that you watch the video until the end. So let's dive right into it. Without further ado, the number one reason why I do believe a home is not selling is the location. Location, location, location. It's probably the most important reason why a home sells or sits on the market. Is your home conveniently located near public transportation in a high demand district school? Is it close to hospitals, malls, convenience stores? Or is it in a busy road? Maybe it's in a neighborhood that there is high crime rate. Maybe it backs into a railroad track and there is a lot of noise. Where is your property located? That it's a major factor. My experience, properties that are in a great location, they always sell. Sometimes they may take a little bit longer, but they always sell because people value their location, location, location. The reason number two why I do believe, or I have seen people sell versus do not sell, is the type of property that you have. Do you have a freehold property or do you have a condo? As you know, the number of listings has increased. The condo prices have pretty much stayed for the last 5 years. If you bought a condo 5 years ago, probably the overall increase in the value of your condo is about 3.2, 3.5%. So in this year, we expect to see a substantial number of condos to continue to come into the market, which is gonna flood the market. So if you have a condo that you need to sell, you need to address the reasons that I'm sharing with you today. If you have a freehold property, what type of property is it? Is it a detached home? Is it a semi-detached? Is it a townhome? Is it a basement finish? Does it have a separate entrance? Is it two-story? Is it three-story? Do you have a unit within the house that can actually give you additional income? These are factors that are actually playing a key role right now, because what we are noticing is due to the fact that the prices are high, buyers are looking for different ways in terms of how they can supplement the mortgage payments that they have to undertake. And what I am seeing lately is if a home has a secondary unit, basement, or they are renting a portion of the home, it helps buyers to potentially make the house more affordable. Reason number three why a home sells versus doesn't sell is the occupancy status. Is your home owner occupied? In my experience, 60% of the homes that are owner occupied, they're easy to show, they show well, and they show pride of ownership. So when a buyer walks into it, they can relate. On the other hand, if the property is tenanted, sometimes it's a little bit challenging to be able to show the unit because you do have to give 24 hours notice, sometimes even more. In addition to that, due to the current market conditions, a lot of tenants, I find they're living paycheck to paycheck. They are struggling to even making their rent payments. And as a result of that, it's difficult for them to look after family, having two jobs, having to maintain the home, etc. And then instead of being tenanted, is the home vacant? Is it clean? Does it show well? Is everything updated? So the occupancy status plays a major factor in terms of whether your home sells or doesn't sell. Now, whether you are thinking about putting up your home for sale or whether the home is currently on the market, you also want to address reason number four, and that is you want to make sure that everything in the house it's working. Are there any leaks in the faucets? Is there any mold in the house? Are there any broken tiles? Is are the appliances in working order? Is the floor showing okay? Are there any cracked tiles? Is the roof leaking? So you want to make sure that everything is looked after. And if you're thinking about selling, I always suggest to do a pre-inspection prior to do that. That way, a home inspector can pinpoint areas that need to be addressed. So that way, when you put up your home for sale, you can make sure that you look after those items. Now, in addition to the repairs of the home, also you want to make sure that you do some cosmetic improvements. Now, the cosmetic improvements that can give you the better return on your investment, number one is painting. If you give your house a fresh coat of paint, it sort of revamps the looks and it makes it look nice and fresh. In addition to painting, you have to make sure that your kitchen is updated. And as if it's not, make sure that it's nice, clean, presentable. Bathrooms, they also add a lot of value to your home. And after the bathrooms, you want to make sure that your floors are nice, clean. If you have carpet that is nicely washed, if you have floors that they are nice and clean. Reason number five why a home doesn't sell is the smell of the house. Is there mold on the house? Is there any humidity? Do you smoke? And if you do you do it outside the home or is there a smell inside the house? If you smell marijuana, if you smoke marijuana for medicinal purposes, is there any smell of marijuana in the house? Are the vents properly ventilated? Are you opening the windows? You want to make sure that when a buyer walks into the home and you have certain expectations in terms of your price, you want to make sure that the home shows impeccable, that is nice and that is clean. So you want to make sure that you address this situation. Now, in addition to that is you have to make sure that if you do have pets, that the pets do their basic needs outside the home, that there is no smell of urine, there is no dog hair, cat hair all over the place, because that creates a negative impression on potential buyers of your home. One last thing that I have to mention is cooking. A lot of cultures they use oil. My culture we use a little oil, and many times because we do that on a daily basis, we are inside the house, we cannot tell the difference. But somebody that doesn't do that, as soon as they walk into the house, they can tell the difference. If you do use a lot of spices for your cooking, make sure there is proper ventilation. Make sure that you're using air fresheners and that you have a fresh pot of coffee, or maybe some cookies, so it would give you a nice smell in the house, so people can actually relate and enjoy that aroma in the house. Number 7 reason why a home may take a little bit longer to sell or may not sell is stage versus not staging the house. In our experience, when a home is staged and is well presented, it will sell 2 to 3% higher than if it's not staged. Nowadays, you have different options. If you don't want to pay for a staging and you don't believe in staging, you can get a stager to come to your house and look at the house and give you some tips in terms of some of the things that you could do to improve the overall appearance of your home. If you are thinking about staging the home, and they would tell you whether your existing furnitures and the things that you have in the home are okay, or if you need to replace them, probably use furniture that is probably more current. In addition to that is you want to make sure that you patch any holes that you have, And nowadays you have the option also to do virtual staging. If you have a home that is vacant, now you could present it to potential buyers the way they can ideally position the furniture throughout the house. Now, keep in mind that when buyers are looking at a home, they're looking at the first photo, which is the first impression, and they're also looking at the price. They are connected. And if that makes sense for them, then they will go to the second step and start looking at the other pictures. So you want to make sure that the first impression for your home, it's impeccable, that it leaves a lasting impression on buyers so they can book an appointment and come and see your home directly. Number 8 reason why a home sells versus doesn't sell is the curb appeal. As soon as you get out from the car and you start walking towards the front door, you start looking your surroundings. Is the grass cut? Has there any landscaping? Is there any trees, flowers? Is the garage door outdated? Is there a new front door? Is the driveway clean? Is there any oil? Is there paint all over the place? Is there garbage? How is the neighborhood? The curb appeal is probably the number one factor that shows whether that homeowner cares. And if you do have a good impression of the outside, the chances of you enjoying the rest of the house are very likely. Now, the number 9 reason why a home sells versus doesn't sell is the current market conditions. Currently, we have different metrics that we use to measure why is a home not selling. We are seeing that listing inventory is increasing, and obviously properties are taking longer to sell. So one good metric to give you a sense of where your home is located within the selling scope is the months of inventory. How many months would it take for a home to sell given the current inventory? And how do you determine that? It's you take the total number of listings in that particular area and the number of sales that have occurred, and you divide it by the number of sales that have occurred in the last 30 days. If that number is less than 3, it indicates that we are in a seller's market. If the number is between 4 and 6, it shows us that we are in a balanced market. And if the number is higher than 6, basically it pinpoints to the fact that we are in a buyer's market. So right now, I do believe we are transitioning from a balanced market potentially into a buyer's market, but I don't think we have reached those levels yet. In addition to that, you have to look at the average number of days that a home is taking on the market. Now, when we look at the number of days that a home is taking to sell, we're not looking at how many days that property was listed, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, was it listed before? Was it terminated? Did it expire? Was it suspended? What we're looking is when we refer to average days on the market is to the last property that actually sold and the number of days that took for that property to sell. So if you are comparing your home versus that home that sold, and do they have similar features and benefits? If your home is well priced, shows well, and it's in a decent or great location, that gives you an indication of the number of days that it would take for your property to sell, provided that the market conditions are similar. Obviously, economy is like a moving animal. It's always changing because there is a number of factors that are currently influencing what is happening. And on top of that, you also have to look at the list price of the property versus the selling price. The listing price may not necessarily be the last listing price. Let's suppose a home was listed for 800,000 and then they lower the price for 750, ended up selling for 700. The listing price is the last price, which was 750, and the sold price would be 700. So, and obviously the higher that number is to 100, it will show that the higher the percentage, the closer and probably better negotiating power that that agent has. And last but not least, the 10th reason why a home doesn't sell, Price, yes, you guessed it. Price. Price is the 10 reason why a home doesn't sell. As you know, we have been experiencing a declining market in the last 2 years. And unfortunately, I think there are a number of factors that are playing here. So we are seeing that a lot of homes that are currently available on the market are currently overpriced. And they are overpriced for a number of reasons. Number one is sellers. Some sellers are still with the mindset that their home is worth more than actually the given current market conditions reflect. Some people pay high prices in 2022, and now those prices do not match the current market values of their home today. In addition to that, we are seeing also that families that bought in 2019, 2020, they had a very low interest rate and they had a variable mortgage. When the interest rates started to increase, the mortgage payments increase. They double actually from where they originally started. And unfortunately, because of the current market conditions, the index of inflation, and the fact that the wages are not keeping up with the home prices, they are finding themselves in a very tough position where some people have mortgages for 6,000, 8,000. We came across a person that had a $12,000 mortgage, but their salary was half of that. So in order for them to be able to sustain, those payments is very challenging. What we are starting to see is, unfortunately, some of those families that can no longer afford to make those payments, their homes are going into power of sales. They're being possessed by the banks, and they are coming up as a power of sales, either by private lenders or the major banks. And this is a trend that we have started to see in the last few months. So the other reason that we're seeing the home sitting on the market is because families bought in 2022. Let me give you an example. Let's say they pay $1 million. Because of COVID, they figure, well, now I'm gonna get out of the city 1 hour. I am going to be getting a bigger place, and I'm going to do some improvements. They put 100,000, 1 million purchase, 100,000. Now their home cost them 1.1. Now they have to go back to the office because some of the banks are actually looking at 4 days going back to work, or they are constantly commuting back to the city. So as a result, they're thinking, well, I'm not gonna be commuting 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and my family is gonna be back home. So I am in the middle of this dilemma. But the actual average price of the homes in the area where they bought for 1 million, now it's about 900. So there is a $200,000 discrepancy. And obviously people don't wanna lose money. I don't think anybody on the right mind wanna do that. So the strategies that we are seeing for prices is overpricing. And basically when you're doing that is you're helping your neighbor to sell your home, because by you overpricing the property, you're saying, come check me out, I'm listing for this, but this is where the home is actually selling. So all you're doing is people that need to sell or really wanna sell, you're actually helping them, because the same house that shows that it's worth selling for 1.1, somebody is supposed to sell it 900. Well, this is a good deal. Let's go. And which property are the buyer visiting first? They're looking for value. They're looking for features, benefits, and the ones that offer the best value. Another strategy is that you could do now with the pricing is you could price your property at a market value. And what we are seeing is, which is the most common one right now, they're leaving some room for negotiations, right? And if you wanna be more aggressive, you could underprice the property. But because buyers are more educated, very savvy, and they have a lot of selections, we are not seeing that strategy working so well. So if you underprice the property by 10%, the chances of you getting what the market value of that property is are low, unless it's a great property, great location, great value. But the majority, probably 8 out of 10 homes, will not be able to get the market value if you underprice the property very severely. And keep this in mind. What I want you to do is ask yourself this question. If you have a home currently in the market that has been sitting there for months and your home is not selling and you have it for X price, ask yourself the question, if I were a buyer, would I pay the value of that house as my own next home? The only one that has the answer to that question is you. If the answer is yes, fantastic. If the answer is no, keep in mind that if somebody is giving you an offer, which may be substantially lower than it is, but it does reflect the current market conditions, you would be buying, it would be like you buying your property back. So today is a good opportunity to reflect, to take down the information, to process everything that I am sharing with you, and I am here to assist you. If you do have any questions, if you would like to get any information about what we talk about, leave your comment below and I'll be happy to answer